you've been going out and trying every single acquisition channel out there, from ads to outbound to organic content, but nothing seems to click, no matter what you try, then this video is for you, because I'm going to explain exactly what I found to be causing this and how you can actually turn any broken funnel into a funnel that brings you a 5 to even 15x ROAS every single time. And this is the exact process that I'm taking all of my clients through. Antonio signing 6.5k deals, Jeff also closing 2 clients in the space of a few days, more split pays, DM closes, 169k pipeline value in 30 days of running ads, and much more that are actually on my Instagram. But I don't want to waste time with that right now. I'm just going to get straight into the value for you guys. So to illustrate my point, I will break down a framework known as the emotional cycle of change. Okay, and this is basically the graph that I want to be breaking down, but it basically illustrates how your emotional stage changes based on the time that you perform a certain activity. And the lack of knowledge that something like this cycle exists is exactly what's stopping you from making any progress, because you have shiny object syndrome. You keep switching from tactic to tactic. And in this video, I want to break this cycle down step by step and then give you some practical tips and insights into how you can actually push through all the way to stage 5, which is success and fulfillment, instead of quitting and going back down to stages 1, repeating the whole cycle over again, having shiny object syndrome and not having anything work because you don't actually take the time to allow it to work. So stage 1 is uninformed optimism, right? This is where your mood is through the roof. You've just found your shiny new object that you're going to go after, and you're super happy to actually start your pursuit, right? So this is the stage that you go through when you start anything new, and during the stage you tend to be very optimistic about the outcome of whatever you're doing. Okay, so this is something like, you start a new business model, you start a new side hustle, you start a new acquisition channel, a new script for your outbound that you found on YouTube, or you've just bought a new course and you think it's going to absolutely change your life. Okay, this applies to everything you do, no matter how big or how small, right? So this applies to business overall. This applies to your acquisition, to your delivery. It applies to your ads, your outbound, your content, and then in your ads themselves, this applies to finding new scripts, your lead magnet, your appointment setting, your closing. Every single action that you take in your business will take you through this emotional cycle of change. Okay, the cycles are going to be smaller or bigger depending on how big the task is, but we all go through them in every stage of our business, right? So an example of this is that you watch a couple of sales trainings, you're feeling extremely confident that you're going to close your first client, and then the first prospect that you have a call with ends up no-showing because you didn't have any follow-up sequences set up pre-call. Your second prospect ends up hanging up on you, right, as you're about to pitch him, and you start feeling like shit. And on that note is where you enter stage 2, right, which is informed pessimism, right, which is basically what I just described. Your prospect hangs up on you, you start feeling like shit. And this is where things start to go downhill. Okay, this usually happens when you launch something for the first time. Like, for example, you launch your first outbound campaign and then you realize that you're supposed to be hitting a 10% reply rate, but you're only getting like 2%. Or it can even happen in the preparation phase, right? So when going through like the sales training itself, you may even feel this. And this is exactly how these smaller cycles, or these bigger cycles, contain smaller cycles inside of them, like I mentioned here. But this is where you actually start to realize that there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of stuff here that I did not know about, and this may not actually be as easy as it seemed to be. So for example, your ad isn't bringing in as many new leads, your outbound isn't hitting KPIs, or the course you bought didn't contain the secret that you were looking for. Okay, and this keeps going and it keeps getting worse and more overwhelming until it reaches its culmination point, which is the valley of despair. This is where you are here. Okay, your morale is at your lowest, you're tired, you feel scammed, and you are about to quit. And you may be right here right now, if you're watching this video, just based off the title, that this is why you are not getting clients. And this is the point where you are faced with 2 choices. Okay, you can either quit, which is what most people do, because they find at that point the next shiny object to go after, right? And then they quit and then they go back to stage 1, back to stage 3, and then back to stage 1. Especially the clients that you work for free. Okay, when people pay you, they actually trust you. But when you do free work for people, they go through this stage like crazy. Okay, they do not trust anything that you are doing. They do not actually. It doesn't seem like they want to win. Okay, because what happens is you start running something, it's going decent. You know exactly what you need to do to optimize this to actually get them the results that they're looking for, but then they enter the valley of despair and they end up finding the next shiny object, and they're like, hey, look, let's switch this up. Let's run this script I found on YouTube. Let's run this ad script I found on YouTube. Let's run this type of secret funnel that I found on YouTube. Okay, and then they realize that that funnel was also a scam, right? Because no single funnel is gonna save your life, and then they go through this stage again. Or the second choice that you have is to actually push through to success, right? So you're in stage 3, but then things start going better because you start realizing that you actually gain knowledge on the subject that you are doing, you gain experience, and you start improving, which I'm going to show you how to actually go from stage 3 to stage 5. That's literally what this video is about. This is just a really long intro. You reach informed optimism, and then ultimately success and fulfillment. But most people never actually get there because They end up quitting and repeating stages 1 to 3 for eternity, wondering why they're never making progress. Okay, and just as a little bit of a quote here, it's always darkest just before the dawn. Okay, quote by Thomas Fuller. And this is absolutely true in this case. So the only way to see results with whatever you're doing right now is to actually push through the valley of despair into informed optimism, success, and then the fulfillment stage, right? And this is what this video is about, okay? So welcome to this video after this insanely long intro, but now you're hopefully hooked and you hopefully understand why this is so important, okay? So how the hell do you get to stage 4? Okay, the key here is that you actually have to iterate, okay? You collect data, you learn, you analyze, and you improve, okay? And you do this both on a macro level and on a micro level, right? Which means that you analyze your acquisition as a whole, right? So let's just say, I don't know, we take your acquisition, right? But we also analyze each component in specific, right? And then in the ads, we analyze each component inside of your ads funnel, because we don't want to be hiring a remote closer when you're closing at 25%. That's still on KPI, okay? Although it's on the lower side if you're doing, depends on what funnel you're running, right? If you're closing on 25%, the closer is not the problem, okay? It's either the appointment setting or the ad creative itself, okay? Or the lead magnet, right? And now I'm going to say something that you probably didn't expect me to say, okay? But the main problem with people who don't have solid data collection systems in place, okay, and you're probably not going to like what I'm about to say, but it is that their funnels are actually often working, okay? But they just don't have the data to know, okay? Often you may be getting like a 3 to 5x ROAS without even knowing it, right? It's just that things may not be fully optimized, and one shift could easily bring the funnel up to a 5 to 15x ROAS, right? But here's the thing. You won't be able to identify that shift if you don't have that data, right? And I see way too many people switching up their ad creatives every couple of days. You switch your ad creative, whereas in reality they suck at appointment setting. And I believe that there are only 2 reasons a funnel is not working for you, okay? And that is either because it's not the right funnel for you, or like if you're making 5k a month and you're running VSL ad funnels, like good luck, probably not gonna go as well. It's gonna take you a lot of testing and a lot of money to test that sort of funnel. Or you just haven't stuck with it long enough to go through the volume of iteration cycles needed to see the results that you actually want. And these iteration cycles, you hear me talk about this a lot, are just literally feedback loops. Okay, there are feedback loops like in your client results, in your product, but we're mainly focused on the market positioning one, or just the overall marketing loop, right? You do marketing, you get data from the market if they resonate, and then you iterate your positioning. Whether that's iterating your ad creative, your lead magnet, your appointment setting, your closing, or you disregard ads whatsoever because you realize that outbound's absolutely killing it for you, for example. So if your funnel isn't working, you just haven't gone through the iteration cycles, right? You can have all the scripts, you can have all of the tactics, you can have everything that you want. However, you know, and that can like speed out your journey. I'm not saying that it won't, right? These things are obviously helpful. However, you're probably not going to hit a home run on your first try, okay? When you start something, you are going to go through these stages of, where are they? Uninformed optimism, informed pessimism, valley of despair, and then you actually have to push through with these iteration cycles to reach informed optimism. You have to collect data to become informed. And then one last concept that I want to touch on is that every funnel can have a compounding effect if you want it to. Okay, people are saying like, I know one of the main selling points of the follower ad funnel is that, it compounds on itself with time. And that's true. That funnel compounds on itself probably more than a lot of other funnels, right? However, compound interest can be found in any other funnel, really, right? Because compound interest comes from you just going through these feedback loops and introducing flywheels into your system, okay? When you go through these flywheels, you introduce a compounding effect, okay? And we're going to be going through these feedback loops in every single funnel that we're going to be running. Right, so every single funnel is going to compound on itself. And that means that collecting data and iterating literally triggers compound interest, right? And this applies in the data you collect, right, which is the numbers. So I'm saying like your KPIs, your cost per lead, cost per click, cost per call, cost of acquisition, and then also in what you learn, which is not numbers, not quantifiable. And then the last thing is in the data that Meta collects and iterates if you're running ads, right? Because if you're running ads, Meta is going to iterate for you. And that's going to trigger a compounding effect in of itself. And that is exactly how you get to stage 5, which is success and fulfillment, right? Which is where everything starts flowing to you more easily. You're confident, you're optimistic, but this time your optimism is actually justified because you know what you are talking about. All right, cool. So really quick video today. I hope this was helpful for you. Put a lot of work into it. I'm about to record a second video right now. If you enjoyed it, just drop me a sub here on YouTube. A lot more is coming soon. Now, if you want to learn how we actually implement this for all of our clients and how we help them scale on a done-for-you model, then I want to link a video up here, which will basically break that whole process down for you. It's probably one of my most valuable videos that exist on YouTube. Or if you already know what that's about, or you just want to see if I can help you personally, then you can go down to the description, book a call with me, and we can see if that is something that would be possible. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Check out that video, and I'll talk soon.